This is a selfie seeker deep dive, a slow, embodied exploration. When was the last time you really laughed? I mean, laughed so hard your stomach actually hurt. Not, a polite chuckle at a meeting or a social laugh, but the kind that just takes over your whole body, completely without your permission, if you're struggling for a member, well, you are absolutely in good company. There's this particular kind of exhaustion, isn't there? The kind that sleep doesn't really fix. It often comes from being, well, the responsible one, the one people count on, the one who, always seems to have it together. It's a tiredness that goes deeper than just physical, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's like a deep weariness.
Yeah.
Maybe from performing stability for so long, you might have forgotten it's even a performance.
Yeah, exactly. That invisible weight you carry pretty much every single day.
And what's really fascinating here, I think, is that this feeling, this weight, it often lives somewhere specific in your body. It actually has an address, so to speak.
An address in the body. I like that.
Yeah. And perhaps you've never actively looked for it, or maybe actually you've worked incredibly hard not to look for it. It could be that familiar tightness in your throat when you even think about being silly, or that tension that kind of grips your belly at the thought of, I don't know, truly taking up space with your delight.
Right.
These aren't just metaphors.
Yeah.
They're very real physical sensations.
Okay. So today we're going to try and unpack this weight and gently explore how we might maybe begin to set it down. We're drawing insights from a really illuminating article by Helen Mudiba. It's titled, "Have You Ever Stopped to Notice the Weight You Carry?"
Mm.
It's a powerful piece, and our deep dive today is really all about understanding its core message.
Indeed. And her subtitle, I think it truly captures our mission here. It says, "Your body learned to trade spontaneity for safety, and relearning to play may be the doorway to a freer life."
Wow. Trade spontaneity for safety. That hits hard.
It does. And what's really insightful about this pathway she describes is its profound respect for the body's own protective mechanisms. It acknowledges that suppressing our natural playfulness, well, it wasn't a flaw. It was actually a survival strategy.
Okay, that's a key difference, not a flaw.
Exactly. So instead of trying to force lightness, it offers a kind of map back to it. One gentle micro movement at a time, really. It's about recognizing that deep change isn't usually about willpower. It's more about cultivating a felt sense of safety within.
A felt sense of safety.
Right.
That feels so crucial, the body's wisdom in protecting us. So when we talk about sovereignty in this context, like in the pathway to sovereignty, what are we actually aiming for? Is it about control, or is it something deeper, maybe more liberating?
That's a great question. I'd say it's about reclaiming your inner territory, your own space. It's moving from reacting to life through these old ingrained protective patterns to consciously choosing how you respond. More choice. It's owning your internal experience, really giving yourself permission to be fully present and expressive without apology.
Permission.
Okay,
Yes.
that, in essence, is what true inner sovereignty feels like.
Yeah.
It's not control over your body, but more like agency within it, where every part of you feels safe enough to just exist.
I love that framing, reclaiming your inner territory. Not controlling, but owning. And our journey today, it's going to follow this pathway. We'll travel from simply noticing these patterns, maybe noticing where they live in our bodies, to engaging in small, gentle movements, maybe exploring sounds, and eventually, perhaps, to more visible outward expressions of lightness. And the guideline for this journey is really clear and compassionate. The body leads.
Yes.
Go only as fast as feels safe for you, respecting your own unique pace. We'll explore this through two really powerful personal journeys. And as you listen, you might find your own body just naturally becoming curious, perhaps noticing, where your shoulders are holding tension right now or what your jaw is doing. Just notice. Let that curiosity be a gentle companion. No pressure. Let's start with Imani. So Imani, at 34, she had basically perfected the art of being needed, but without ever truly being seen.
Ah, yes. That's a common pattern.
Right. She was the friend everyone called during a crisis, the colleague who always stayed late, the daughter who managed all the family tensions with this kind of invisible grace. Her voice was always soft, very measured, always drawing other people out while revealing almost nothing of herself.
Almost like a defense mechanism in itself.
Totally. People often complimented her, saying things like, "Oh, you're such a natural therapist," and she'd respond with this polite smile that, engaged only the necessary muscles, nothing more.
And in Money's childhood, it sounds like it profoundly shaped this ability she had to sort of disappear behind her helpfulness. Her mother's moods, apparently, could fill every room really intense and unpredictable.
Wow.
And her father's silence was a different kind of burden, almost a withdrawal that felt like judgment. In her family's culture, the eldest daughter's role was often to be the bridge, the translator.
The peacekeeper.
Exactly, the keeper of harmony. So she learned very early on that her own feelings, her own needs, well, they were a luxury the family just couldn't afford.
Oof. And her body, of course, kept a very precise score of all this. She lived with this burning knot between her shoulder blades that no massage could ever seem to reach.
Deep tension.
Yeah, and a jaw so tight she'd wake up with headaches. Hands that trembled whenever she simply tried to rest.
And this pattern you're describing, this is often where the journey on the pathway to sovereignty begins. It's in a state we could call survival. Here, the body's prime directive is simply to stay safe, often through contraction, hypervigilance.
Right, like bracing.
Exactly. The chest cavity might feel frozen, breath becomes shallow and high, just bracing for impact.
That makes sense.
And her life also reflected that next stage, stability. This is where the spine often becomes quite rigid. Movements are calculated and small. As someone seeks control, really, to manage what feels like chaos, either internal or external.
Right. So Imani maintained this really careful equilibrium for decades. Every action was like a quiet act of control. The crisis, the turning point, it arrived on a totally ordinary Tuesday. She was cleaning out some old boxes, and she found a photo from her 7th birthday party. In it, she's wearing this bright purple costume, like with silver stars, arms thrown wide, mouth open, and just pure, uncomplicated laughter.
Wow. A glimpse of her past self.
Totally. And that image, looking at it, it felt like looking at a stranger. That child's joy seemed almost reckless to her now, almost obscene.
Dangerous, even.
Yeah, and she found herself crying, just sobbing with this grief that sat really heavy in her sternum, mourning a version of herself she hadn't even remembered losing.
And that sudden, overwhelming exhaustion, or sometimes it's grief, that can come when the body finally stops bracing, when it's finally able to observe and question what's happening. That's often the entry into self-awareness.
Okay, that recognition.
Exactly. The photograph apparently stayed on her kitchen counter for weeks. She'd catch glimpses of it and feel her throat close up, almost as if that laughing child was asking her some unanswerable question, demanding something she felt she couldn't give. Her carefully maintained equilibrium just started to crack.
Yeah, it's truly fascinating how a single image, a memory, can unlock so much, isn't it?
Absolutely. That moment of recognition, seeing the person she once was, it must have been incredibly disorienting for her.
Her first catalyst for change actually came from a friend's unexpected invitation, a spontaneous road trip.
Oh.
Imani's immediate response, of course, was to decline, listing her endless responsibilities.
Predictable, given her pattern.
Totally. But something in her friend's easy assumption that life could actually include purposeless pleasure, it created this small, unexpected pause in her chest, like an opening. And she said yes before her mind could really protest.
That's huge. Just saying yes. Yeah. And the trip was, well, as you might imagine, incredibly uncomfortable for her at first.
I bet.
Without tasks or others to tend to, she felt exposed. Her nervous system just scanning for danger that wasn't actually there. For the entire first day, she just sat rigidly in the passenger seat, making appropriate conversation, her body locked in vigilance.
Right. Stuck in that stability mode.
Exactly. But on the second day, driving through these endless wheat fields, blasting, apparently, 90s Eurovision hits.
Oh, perfect.
Something shifted. She found herself laughing, a true stomach-aching laugh at some absurd finish entry.
That's amazing. A real breakthrough moment.
It was. For a moment, the weight just lifted. Then almost immediately, guilt rushed in. How could she be so carefree? When her mother had called with another crisis, when her clients needed her.
The familiar script kicking back in.
Right. Yet the laughter had created this undeniable crack and opening. That night, she called her mother and said words she'd apparently never uttered before. I cannot solve this for you. I am taking a few days for myself.
Wow. Setting a boundary.
A huge boundary. Her mother's sharp intake of breath apparently felt like a slap, the silence that followed like exile.
Ouch.
But for Imani, it was a step into integrity. That's the next stage. A deep warmth returning as she aligned with what truly mattered to her in that moment.
That must have taken immense courage, saying those words to her mother for the very first time.
Absolutely immense. And what's fascinating isn't just what she said, but what allowed her body to finally say it. That burst of laughter on the road trip, it created this tiny window of felt safety.
Ah, the safety again.
Yes, a permission her nervous system had just been starved of for so long. Weeks later, Back in her careful life, Imani reluctantly joined a movement class.
Okay.
The instructor invited them to just move however their bodies wanted.
Mm.
Imani stood frozen. Her body felt like concrete.
Totally understandable. Terrifying, probably.
Right. But when the instructor gently asked, what would happen if you let yourself take up more space? And what story does your body tell when you do? Something broke open. Imani tentatively began to move, her arms sweeping wide, then contracting, her spine catching itself, her hips finding a rhythm, then stopping, almost ashamed.
That sounds like such a vulnerable process.
Incredibly, this dance was like a conversation, a physical exploration of her own patterns, and it began with small, gentle, micro movements, like maybe just wiggling a pinky toe or touching her thumb to each finger, feeling her hands wanting freedom.
Tiny steps.
Tiny steps. And then, when a sense of relief came, leaving a sound, a breath to escape, exploring her voice and breath, that came next.
Change is messy, though, isn't it? It's not linear.
Not at all.
The next week, apparently, at a work function, Imani laughed loud and genuine. Her supervisor looked at her with surprise, maybe bordering on disapproval, and said, well, that's new.
Oof, that comment, well, that's new. It's so subtle, but it carries so much weight, doesn't it?
Totally. It perfectly captures that external pressure we often face when we dare to shift our established roles.
Yes, the pushback.
The shame was immediate for Imani. She spent the rest of the evening silent, professional, back in the box. That night, she threw away the photo of the 7-year-old girl, retrieved it, threw it away again, retrieved it again.
The push and pull. That's so real. Expansion, then contraction. Opening, then shame hitting. It's so common on this pathway.
Her therapist, wisely, never asked her to just be lighter.
Look.
Instead, the question was, what does your body do when it feels safe?
A much better question.
Imani didn't know at first, so together they mapped sensations. Safety wasn't laughter yet. It was maybe her shoulders dropping half an inch, breathing into her belly for a moment, her jaw unclenching for 3 seconds.
Micro safeties.
Exactly. She slowly recognized her journey, not as fixing something broken in her, but remembering something forgotten.
And this is where wholeness begins to emerge, not as some perfect destination, but as a growing capacity to hold both things, the fear and the play.
Holding both, okay.
Her shoulders began to drop more often, her breath deepened more consistently.
Wholeness arrived in unexpected moments, it sounds like when she finally told her mother she couldn't manage the family dynamics alone anymore. And her mother, instead of collapsing, actually revealed her own exhaustion.
Wow. A connection.
Yeah. Or when Imani laughed a snort, actually, during a serious meeting at some absurd corporate jargon, and noticed her colleague trying not to smile too.
Little moments of shared humanity.
Exactly. When she realized she could hold space for others' pain without absorbing it all herself. And then she began to experience moments of what we could call embodied lightness, like dancing in her kitchen to absolutely no music.
Love it.
Waving at nothing just because it felt good, or even trying a big fake smile just to feel those unused muscles stretch across her face.
Playing with expression.
Yeah. And freedom, the final stage. For Imani, it wasn't some place she arrived at and stayed.
No, it rarely is.
It was more like a practice she returned to. A permission she kept giving herself over and over. It was dancing to the radio unwitnessed, watching dogs chase balls with that ridiculous dedication they have.
Pure joy.
Laughing so hard with friends that she completely forgot to monitor her own joy levels.
Forgetting the self-consciousness.
Even at a funeral, 6 months into her journey, when she laughed, a real laugh of recognition and love for the person. And the scandalized looks sent her spiraling for a moment. She didn't completely shut down this time.
Progress.
Yeah. She learned to notice the old patterns resurfacing, but with compassion. Seeing them as her nervous system's attempt to keep her safe, even when safety wasn't really what she needed most anymore.
That compassion piece is so key, understanding the why behind the pattern.
Imani's path back to joy really highlights how we can gradually, gently dismantle those protective walls. But what about someone whose natural playfulness was maybe more actively shut down?
Right, a different starting point.
Someone who knew what it felt like to be completely free, only to lose it. Our next story, Tarek's story, offers a really powerful perspective on rediscovering that lost spark.
Okay, let's turn to Tarek.
Yeah.
He had built his entire career of being taken seriously.
Ah, the serious one. Right. At 41, he was the teacher students respected, but maybe never quite relaxed around. His classroom ran with, military precision, Homework in designated trays, equations always in straight lines.
Order and control.
Exactly. His encouraging comments even followed a template, specific enough to show he was paying attention, but distant enough to maintain authority.
Maintaining that professional boundary very rigidly. But as a child, Tarek was apparently a natural class clown, always turning lessons into play. Physics equations became battling dragons in his mind. Historical dates were reimagined as phone numbers to call the past.
That sounds delightful.
Doesn't it? His body was in constant motion back then, hands drawing in the air, feet tapping rhythms only he could hear. His humor was both a gift and, well, a curse. It drew laughter, but also punishment. This was his natural state of freedom, but it was suppressed very early on.
Okay, so he had it. What happened? The moment that changed everything, apparently, came in year 7. His impression of the headmaster during a school assembly sent the entire hall into hysterics.
Oh boy.
And sent him straight to the office.
Predictably.
The shame on his parents' faces afterward, his father's silence, his mother's quiet but final words. Excellence does not wear the mask of a fool.
Ouch. That's a powerful message to internalize.
Devastatingly powerful.
And this experience, it sounds like it pushed Tarek right back into survival mode and then quickly into establishing stability. He deliberately transformed himself. He started mimicking the contained gestures, the measured speech, the careful distance of the serious students.
You learn the rules.
He learned the rules, and he found satisfaction in approval rather than in delight. His body learned totally new patterns. Stillness over movement, tension over ease, control over expression.
So his body adapted.
Completely. Shoulders locked high, breath shallow, hands clenched even when just holding a pen. He became the composed, brilliant young man the teacher students respected.
But maybe didn't feel connected to.
Exactly. The crisis for him arrived in the most modern form possible.
A meme.
Oh no, a meme? Yes. His students created this, well, good-natured meme portraying him as comically serious. Apparently, it went viral within the school.
Wow. The universal language of our times delivering a tough message.
Right. Tarek laughed along publicly, demonstrating he could take a joke.
Of course. The performance of stability again.
Precisely. But that night, alone, looking at the images on his laptop, they reflected someone who was respected, yes, but also unimaginable, as playful, reliable, but never surprising, existing in only one dimension.
Oof. That hits deep.
And the loneliness he felt, like a hollow space between his ribs, just became unbearable. This was his entry point into self-awareness. The meme cracked the facade.
Okay, the wake-up call.
His first catalyst came through a really vulnerable conversation with a student, surprisingly. She asked him, "Were you always this serious, like even when you were my age?"
Kids cut right through it sometimes, don't they?
They really do. Tarek found himself telling her about the boy he'd been, the one who made everyone laugh. And as he spoke, his hands started to move, illustrating points in the air, just like they used to.
Ah, the body remembering.
Exactly. The student's response was so simple, yet profound. She said, "That's really sad, sir. I mean, couldn't you be both smart and alive?"
Wow. Smart and alive, out of the mouths of bigs.
Right. That evening, he pulled out these old sketchbooks from university. His cartoons were elaborate and absurd, just filled with the wild, uninhibited joy he'd completely forgotten.
Reconnecting with that lost part.
Yes. His hands remembered the movements even as his mind resisted. He spent hours drawing, apparently feeling his shoulders drop with each ridiculous character he drew. This was integrity returning. Movement that felt true again, like maybe scrunching his nose or curling his toes, small, rebellious micro-movements his body remembered from childhood play.
Tiny acts of defiance against the seriousness.
Exactly. But the path wasn't smooth, of course. It never is.
Right.
The next week, feeling energized, he tried to make a joke during a lesson. It completely bombed.
Oh no, awkward.
Totally. Students just looked confused. One even asked, "Are you feeling all right, sir?"
Ouch. Back into the shame spiral.
Immediately. He returned to his script, his structure, his safety zone, which just shows how we revisit these territories, right? We often cycle back before moving forward again.
Makes sense. It's not failure, just part of the process.
Precisely. But small changes did start to creep in, despite his fear. Maybe a raised eyebrow here, a terrible pun there, a demonstration of molecular movement that involved him shuffling around like an anxious electron.
I love that image.
He also started to experiment more consciously with his voice and breath. Maybe humming for 3 seconds, just for the sake of it. Whispering a kind phrase to himself in a silly accent when no one was listening. Blowing breath out like dandelion seeds.
Playful explorations, even in secret. It's easy to dismiss that bad joke as just a mishap. but the shame he felt really highlights how deeply we internalize these masks we wear.
Well,
Is it ever truly possible to shed them completely, do you think? Or is it more about learning to wear them more lightly?
I think it's often the latter. Learning to wear them more lightly, choosing when to put them on and take them off, rather than being fused to them.
Right, more choice again.
His second catalyst actually came through an unexpected failure. A happy accident, maybe? He'd planned this elaborate lesson acting out chemical reactions, complete with costumes.
Ambitious.
Very. And it was total chaos. Students forgot their roles, mixed up the elements, photosynthesis apparently became a soap opera.
Oh my goodness.
He should have been mortified, according to his old script. Instead, watching his usually anxious students laughing, arguing, engaging with the material through play, something in his chest just unraveled.
Ah, the unexpected outcome.
Exactly. His structured lesson had failed,
Hmm.
but messy, loud, alive learning was happening. And the student said, "Sir, I've never seen you look so happy." He hadn't even realized he was smiling.
Oh, that's powerful.
This was wholeness emerging. That capacity to hold both the fear of failure and the joy of the present moment.
Holding both again, I see the theme.
Tarek began to recognize his own movement through these territories more consciously. Wholeness emerged slowly, not as a perfect resolution, but as this growing capacity to hold contradiction. He could be the serious professional when needed and the playful educator when possible. He discovered that respect and joy weren't enemies after all.
They could coexist?
They could be dance partners even. He even started a teacher's improv group. Initially terrified, of course.
Brave.
But by the third week, they were creating these elaborate scenarios, failing spectacularly, laughing together. This was embodied lightness for Tarek, tapping a rhythm like a cartoon character, rolling his shoulders with exaggerated, uninhibited movements just because it felt good.
Letting the body lead into play.
Exactly. And freedom, again, arrived not as some final achievement, but as moments of forgetting to be afraid.
Forgetting to be afraid. I like that.
Yeah. Performing in the staff talent show, doing impressions, including one of his rigid before self, turning the conservation of energy into an elaborate murder mystery for his class,
Oh, yeah.
laughing with a date about his terrible dancing, no longer needing to maintain that image of controlled perfection.
Letting go of the mask.
Even now, Tarek's old patterns still lived in his muscle memory. Some days he'd wake up with his jaw clenched, shoulders rigid, prepared for judgment.
The habits run deep.
They do. But he learned to notice these moments with compassion rather than criticism, seeing them as his nervous system's old attempt to keep him safe, even when safety wasn't the priority anymore.
That compassion piece again, it seems crucial for both Imani and Tarek.
Absolutely essential.
So, as we've explored Imani's and Tarek's journeys, you listening might recognize aspects of your own story in there. Their paths really beautifully illustrate that reclaiming joy isn't about forcing silliness or pretending.
Not at all.
It's much more about cultivating safety, granting ourselves small permissions, and embracing tiny rebellions against those old patterns.
All right. Exactly. So where do you find yourself on this pathway to sovereignty today listening to this? If your breath feels high and tight, or your chest feels kind of frozen, you might be resonating with survival. If your movements feel very controlled, maybe calculated,
Yeah.
perhaps you're recognizing stability.
Okay.
If you feel a sudden wave of exhaustion or maybe even relief when you consciously stop bracing for a moment, that's often self-awareness dawning.
Mm-hmm.
If you found a movement, however small, that felt true to you today, even just for a second, maybe a shoulder roll, a deeper breath, you're tapping into integrity. If you feel you can hold both the fear and the possibility of play, if your shoulders are maybe beginning to drop a little, your breath deepening, that's the feeling of wholeness.
Holding both.
And if you've allowed yourself even one tiny playful act today, or felt the impulse for one, you're experiencing a taste of freedom. And remember, these aren't like linear steps on a ladder. They're territories we visit and revisit again and again, always with the body as our guide.
Okay, let's start to bring this deep dive home then. Take a moment right now, just a brief pause wherever you are. Just notice your body again. How do your shoulders feel compared to when we started? Is your jaw maybe a little softer? What about your breath? Is it lower in your belly? No judgment at all, just gentle awareness. This journey back to lightness, as we've seen, it isn't really about grand gestures. It's about these tiny permissions and small rebellions that slowly build a new sense of safety in the nervous system.
Yes, building safety from the inside out.
So here's a thought, an invitation really for you to carry forward from today. Tonight, maybe before you sleep, Just let your body make one movement that served absolutely no purpose. Just a wiggle of your fingers, perhaps, a stretch that isn't about releasing tension, but just stretching. A sound that isn't a word.
A purposeless movement. I love that.
Yeah. Just notice what happens in your nervous system when you do it, any subtle shifts. And then tomorrow, perhaps one small, playful gesture. See what happens. Just observe.
And as we explore these territories of reconnection, it's really possible that some grief may have arisen for you today. Maybe mourning a version of yourself you lost or joy you didn't even realize you'd missed.
Yeah, it's very possible.
If so, please know that this grief is sacred. It's mourning something real. This framework and our deep dive today, it's really meant as an exploration, a gentle invitation. It's not a replacement for therapy.
Absolutely. A crucial point.
If you find yourself feeling overwhelmed by what's come up, please do seek trained support.
Yes, please do. And if you are curious to explore this further on your own, we do have some excellent resources available. There's a free guided meditation that can help you navigate these 6 sovereignty levels within your own body, get a feel for them. We also have a free integration PDF, which offers a kind of somatic map of these stages. Think of it as a guide that helps connect these emotional and energetic shifts directly to sensations and movements in your own body.
Really practical tools.
Yeah. And for those who enjoy a more structured journey, you can find the Your Path to Choosing Joy, a 21-day journaling journey on Amazon.
Great resources. And all this really raises an important question to leave you with, perhaps. What part of you deep down still believes that joy is unsafe? Or maybe just indulgent? Frivolous?
A powerful question.
What we've learned today from Imani and Tarek and from this pathway to sovereignty is this. Your capacity for delight, for playfulness, it never actually left you. It was just waiting. Waiting for safety.
Waiting for safety.
Today, perhaps, you began creating just a little bit more of that safety. Trust your body. It really does know the way home.
Climb the staircase, breath by breath, with compassion and presence we rise from stress, from fear to peace, from shame to grace. Climb the staircase to sovereignty. When you feel unsafe, too much to bear, you shut down a flare, you vanish or glare, your heart beats fast, your breath runs tight, you just want out or to make it right. That's survival, the you that just wants to survive.
What you feel is complete powerlessness, a cry for safety, not for success.
Climb the staircase, breath by breath, with compassion and presence we rise from stress, from fear to peace, from shame to grace. Climb the staircase to sovereignty.
When you feel the pressure to fix or prove, you hustle hard, you never stop or move. You shrink your voice to keep control. You manage the threat, but it takes a toll. There's stability, the you that's trying to keep things intact.
What you feel is the pattern unwind. You are no longer lost in the mind. Climb the staircase, breath by breath. Let presence be your stair.